Yes,
so
please.
if I'm a seller and I want to initiate an escrow against a buyer that is not on the platform, so I log in, impute this person's email, it will throw an error that this person is not on this platform. It will still initiate here. So that person now gets a
In
link
that case, I'm
to
suspecting one of the
either
security
onboard
vendors
on the platform
is
or just
blocking
proceed
it.
to payments.
Do you inspect
So what you are saying now is if you just proceed to payments as opposed to
error?
just
Are you seeing
rendering
anywhere saying content security
the payment
policy or
option screen
something?
that we have today, we should render a page first where they will put an OTP.
Yes.
So what triggers that OTP? It means they will still have to go back to their mail and pick that OTP and impute. And what parameters will be on the proceed to payments link that can extract and call these OTP endpoints? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
It tries to make me understand. I'm a little not so clear.
Okay. So I click on proceed to payments as a guest. You should render a screen for OTP, right? Before rendering the payment option screen. Is that
there are two ways
so
we
there
can
should
do
be a
it.
way to
There are two ways
to
we can do it.
authenticate the first. Okay.
There are two ways. The first way is what I've just described. The second way would have been that when you're initiating transaction, I think every transaction itself that you initiate to the seller, or I mean to the buyer, right, should always come with an OTP, regardless. So that OTP is also a way of either creating a session or something. So that OTP is what the guy then enters. So it doesn't have to be a two-way. But the first way is my preferred approach, where he still has to go back to the email to get the OTP and then enter that email into the web application. So that web application then shows him the payment, to choose a payment method, which he then chooses transfer. Or at this point, because he's a guest, we might not be able to collect his card details, or if anything we want to do at that point, we can decide. But he can then choose the payment method. So, but what I'm trying to say is, just like you said, once he clicks on the proceed to make payment, he sees a form that says enter, just one form to enter OTP, and once he clicks on OTP, submit the OTP, it becomes he's then able to see the account to make payment or the payment options to select either transfer or card. You understand? Any of those can be the next page used.
Okay, I understand. I totally understand. Yeah.
So, but the whole idea is to try to onboard that guy and sort of
without him knowing
as a guest, and somehow also protect ourselves by giving him like a session at that point and using that session across.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Jope.
I'm so sorry for dragging back. The OTP card. I want to know, is it for validation or we're trying to get the reason for the OTP again? Because for them to be able to access the email, get the email, that means they are valid, that they are meant to valid. So getting an OTP for the email is then
Sorry, can you take a little louder. I didn't get you.
Like, to understand the scenario for the OTP card. But I want to know, is the OTP or have validation because the situation? Is it for validation? Because if they for them to get the payment, that means you have their system is affected and their value. So for the OTP, because to me, I tried the OTP again, it's just like for validation of the mail. But I'm sorry for that, but I don't want to understand what I'm doing. Like, is it
So
for validation?
it is for authorization of the user. You understand? And you can as well say it's a validation of the user. Or so for them to get the effect that today, for you you have to log in as a job, and with that session, you are able to then complete the payment on the platform. So if you want to accept payment from a guest user, then you have to do similar thing by creating a session for that guy too. So how do you create a session for that guy that is guest, and also keeps your APIs protected? Is to sort of force that guy to become a user, some sort of user that you understand how you onboarded the user, like a temporary password for that guy with the OTP. So that OTP is more like the temporary password of the guest user. So when the user comes with that OTP, you are creating a session with that OTP and then using it to authorize the user to call, to have access to certain part of the application. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I guess now I understand. So with this scenario now, is it still the same API we have for the payment we are still using, just that these people who have to log in and use and we have an OTP screen then.
Yes, we can use the same endpoints now. We just solved it to say, hey, we can use the same endpoint, but this user is a guest user because we can now track this user. We can now say, hey, this user is a guest and he only has access to generate virtual account and make payment. So making payment is not a problem. People can make payment, but we don't want to give them more than that access. So we can use that profile that we've generated for them to limit access to our backend resources and say, okay, it's only generate that they can do or certain endpoints that they can do. But if they want to now come on the platform fully, when they try to sign up, we'll tell them that they can reset their password. They already have their email is already in our database. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I get. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if you understand me, Abdul, and the whole idea is to ensure that the OTP is like an authorization to give them a session and give them access to a certain part of our application. You understand? I think that will help us manage it with a profile and with that our role. And that way we can only give them limited access. They don't necessarily have to have full access to the entire application because they will be prompted to, and that OTP will most likely after that session they may not be able to use that OTP to log in as a normal user. They'll be asked to reset their password if they try to use the OTP to log in. You get what I'm saying? So this is just what I feel we should add. It gives our platform security and also allows the user to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I guess it does. So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So normally, if you are proceeding to payments, if you click on the proceed to payment button from your mail, I think what David is passing, like the query that David is passing, like there's an ID of that particular transaction on that thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's with that ID now either the initiate card payment or the virtual account endpoint. So now that we have a screen in between, I'm going to lose track of that ID. So I'm just talking from like the front end side, right? How
you're not going to lose track of that ID now.
Okay.
Because today, for the guy that is going to log in, are you not going to present a login screen for that guy? How did you keep the transaction ID?
So how I kept the transaction ID for that guy is, if you log in, right, you go to, it will route you to your dashboard. So that dashboard now has like all your transactions, whether so if you select a particular transaction that you want to proceed to pay for, I'm storing the ID in a store, in a Redux store. So once you click on the card or virtual account, I have the ID in the store there. So it will just pick the ID from there and call.
So this one is a little
So this
different.
one, yeah, is a little different because it is not routing to any dashboard that has like all the transaction of that person. It just goes to a payment screen where you are just supposed to pay for.
But why
that
can't it
particular
go to the
transaction.
dashboard once you click on OTP? Because you are obviously dealing that guy. The same way you are trying to when you click username and password, it logs in. When the guy,
So you should route to that same page.
yeah, it should route to that dashboard, but it has limited features because he's not a fully onboarded user. So, but he has access to all those. The dashboard is there, and he'll be able to see that particular payment that is even pending, because that's the only thing that user has. Do you understand? Can you invite Thelma? Let's even solution this. Can you call Thelma into this call? Because I know.
Yeah, jump up.
Okay, I'll do that. I want to pick her thoughts on this. Are you following us? Because sometimes you guys just only let me know bits and pieces. You're not really explaining. Like now, Abdul is saying this is how you guys design the user journey. So you're coming in bits and pieces, and we can't advise that way. We need to understand the entire stuff so that we can know the impact of whatever solution we're trying to build or suggestion we're trying to introduce, and it doesn't, I like what Tim Tokwe asked, so that she can have clarity on how what is the OTP then used for? Is it to validate or to authorize? Yeah, so which you said is authorized. So for this case now, if you're doing that, it's more like you're, like I said, creating a session for that guy. And to create a session, how do you do that? You log in, so you're logging in with that email and the OTP. And once you log in with the email and OTP, it should go to the dashboard. Do you understand? And that dashboard, for a guest user, it will be that is seeing the pending transaction that he needs to complete, and he can then select payment method, and it shows him the account to pay. Do you understand, David?
Yeah, I do.
So because we are trying to create a session for that guy, we obviously have to log in. That's one of the only ways we can this thing, or we create a way that when we pass that OTP, because we sort of stored the OTP with the transaction ID. When the guy comes back with the OTP and we create a session for him, back that transaction ID part of the content. Good afternoon. Well done. Sorry to have put you out notice. We're trying to solution something. I thought, you must have thought it. So maybe we can discuss this together. We just need a few minutes of your time.
Okay, that's fine.
So David and I, guys, in front end, Abdul, we are looking at this escrow implementation, and something we need to be clear on how to implement, or the safest or easiest way. We're also considering user experience as well to implement the payment flow for a guest user. So I'll explain I'll explain what we have. So what we have for a guy that is not, for the payment is that when a seller initiates a transaction to a buyer, an email is sent to the buyer. If the buyer is not on the platform, he still gets the email, right? That, hey, you have a pending payment to make. So if he clicks on proceed to make payment, right? When he clicks on proceed to make payment, it takes the buyer to our platform, and the buyer is asked to log in. When the buyer logs in as an existing user, he is then shown the payment method to select. He selects the payment method either to pay by transfer
I forgot
or card. And if he chooses transfer, a virtual pay one-time account is generated that is time-bound and tied to the amount that is supposed to make payment to. So make payment for. So when he makes that payment, everything follows the journey that that has been laid down. So there's a confirmation that is sent from virtual pay to the platform, and that transaction completes. That follows a normal journey because that guy is an existing customer.
Yeah, working from home.
When he clicks on login,
you're killing me out here, bro.
his session has been generated at that point. So we are looking at a scenario where he's not a log user. He wants to complete the transaction as a guest. I believe you guys have reviewed the other platform. So I believe that once he clicks on as a guest, what should happen next is an OTP is generated such that we use that email and an OTP generating platform to initiate an OTP to that guy, and he comes back with the OTP. So once he enters the OTP and we validate the OTP and it's okay, we are creating a session for that guy, right? It's more like a login session, and that guy can then go ahead and select the payment method. Yeah, so when he selects the payment method, why we are taking this approach is because we don't want to expose the generate virtual account to any guest. It has to be somebody that is authenticated, you understand, or has a session, so that whatever we are protecting access to the platform. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the question, the doubt that we now have is that when we create a session, and when we're trying to create a session and we enter OTP, how do you link the transactions with that transaction ID? And I think we already landed it when we said that transaction ID is tied to that OTP, right? And it is returned once the guy creates a session, and that guy can, the app can then use that transaction ID to render the dashboard for that guy.
And the amount and everything.
And the pending payment, yes. So you can then choose the payment method. But I brought you here so that you can help us. I know you guys looked at the other platform. As a guest, when you click on guest payments, I think they usually also trigger an OTP, right? Or does the OTP come by default in the first transaction email that he gets?
Yeah, so the user just receives a mail to come to the platform and onboard, or just proceed to make payments.
But there's no OTP in any of the journey for that.
No, there's no OTP. No.
So let me make sure I understand. So the flow that is a bit hazy now is the one for a guest user that does not want to onboard, or you just want to make payment and go, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so it means that a mail will be sent to them and they are supposed to click on a link.
Yes.
And pay.
Yes. And once they click on that link, it takes them to a page. What we are proposing is that the page should have like where they can enter an OTP, and sort of what we want to do is to sort of create those guys as a guest users, right? So if the guy is a guest user, that way when it's coming with an app, we create that guy as a guest user, and because we have told them to enter OTP, we already generated an OTP on that guy's behalf, right? Such that once he enters the OTP, it's more like we are logging in that guy. We are logging him in and creating a session so that we can then go into a dashboard, just like the other logged in user would log in and enter a dashboard. This other guy to most likely log in and go into a dashboard, and you see like he's a guest user and all of that. So let me explain something. If you go to an e-commerce site and try to purchase an item, it allows you add to cart and everything without having to log in. but creates you more like a guest, right? And when you check out, it probably stores you as a guest user throughout your journey.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of experience that I'm thinking. Like we create that guy as a guest user, even though we are using his emails to hold that session. You understand what I'm saying? So the only challenge that the guys have is that there's another screen that will come in, which is that OTP screen that will come in between the flow for a guest user. So once he enters that OTP, then that's the only way you can proceed. That's the only way we can also protect our backend resources as well as access to some of these pages on the web application.
Have you checked maybe how other like middleman, how are they doing it? Do you know, John Paul?
Okay, so for the payments part on middleman, I didn't really do their whole payment system, but again, I can always explore and see how.
But they also have that guest coach.
For middleman, I don't even the sellers are mostly the people that even initiate on behalf of buyers most times. So, but I would go through their website and see how the payment thing works, and then give a feedback on it.
Okay. I think on my side, I'll also do some research. I'll see if I can, because I know we looked at it there, myself and Shada, when we just it out.
Guy,
I'll see if I can find.
give me a minute, I beg. I'm about to talk
Because I have
in
something
this
in
meeting.
mind, but I'm trying to be careful that there will be
How
no
far you? What's happened?
vulnerability.
How you did?
That we are now creating because we want guest user.
What do you say?
Yeah, so that's the problem.
I said, I know they hear you well, man.
It's creating some vulnerability.
Chill.
So what we are proposing initially.
Wait till they go do in a minute.
Close that vulnerability by
Yeah, we need to.
I want to like 2 minutes. 3 seconds, briefly, so I have to start all of them. I have to ensure it's moving.
Yeah, no. Maybe I'll call you back in like 30 minutes, 1 hour, sha.
Buyer, right?
But it's not them that have received the email or this OTP. We need it to like, and it's not the same email they'll get.
Yeah, so it's the same guy that received the email that will also receive, because he's trying to, now he first received the email to proceed to payment. And when he clicks on it, he goes to our page, right? There are 2 ways to implement it. It's either as part of the first email that he gets, it comes with an OTP. Do you understand? Or the second way is that as soon as he clicks on, no, I want to continue as a guest, he creates that guy as a guest and generates an OTP and uses that OTP as the password of that guest user. And that OTP is sent to the same email. So he then gets that OTP and enters it, because the page that will go to, instead of logging in, will be to enter an OTP. You must have received the OTP. And that OTP, once he submits the OTP, it's more like then authenticating him on the platform. So we use the OTP and the email to authenticate the guy, and he's then able to log into the platform and complete the payment as a guest. Do you understand? But this time we have used the OTP to sort of authorize him or give him access to the need to consider it, because we are adding that layer of sending a second email and him having to enter OTP on the landing page. So yeah, I understand that point, but I mean it's security over that as well. That's what we're thinking. So these are the proposition, but the second one is to say at the point that he's getting the initial email, he should get there should be like a one-time token that is passed along that email, so you can then enter it straight head-on. But that approach is also, it's more like they're not even secure at all.
Yes, exactly. Okay. I think what we can do is to check how Middleman is doing it, because I know at least they have what do you call it, guest users. Then I'll also do some research I'll probably write my thoughts out so that I can also confirm if there's no loophole that will be created if we go that route.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also said we should call you in, because I know you guys, you and Shada, I mean, sort of tested Middleman and probably saw how these guest users are handled. So I think we just, if we want to not reinvent the wheel, we can leverage what people have done and see how we can maybe do it better or do it the same way they're doing it. But what I'm saying is, for us to do this, we have to protect access to the APIs. So that's why we are looking for a safe way to sort of take guest users' transactions as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I think David was going to say something, but I don't know if he's quiet now. David.
No. So what I was gonna say is basically the whole idea of the whole when they click on the make payments, we create a temporary user, send them an OTP, then authenticate the account in the OTP. I don't mind this. I feel like that one works. Most e-commerce sites that I've seen, I feel like most of them you can shop and everything without having an account. But most times when it gets to payments, they have to create an account, from what I know. So basically they have to authenticate when it's getting to that payment side. So personally, John Paul, mute your mic.
John Paul, sorry, can you mute?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
David, I mean, you're landing at something.
So for the case of us getting to that payment side, I actually kind of like the idea of us creating a temporary user. It actually kind of makes sense. So personally, for me, I think it should be either that or the buyer just creates an account. And and move
Yeah, we
on
already have
to
the
the
buyer
payments.
creating an account profile journey, right? So this
Yeah.
guest user as well, we can create a temporary guest profile. I think that's a safe way to do it as well, right? But I'm just saying that we should run it through the house so that everyone, I mean, we have all stakeholders understanding
Okay.
what we are proposing as well, you know. So yeah, Telma can also review, but I believe strongly that creating a guest profile, if we can manage it properly, it saves us future headaches, you know, and we will be able to even manage that particular guest user to say, hey, this is what you have access to, this is what you can see, and all of that. You understand, on the platform. So I mean, we can manage it at that layer once we can identify who is calling, uh, uh, who is logged on our platform, who is calling our endpoints. You know. So I agree with you, David. Like
We gonna beat your
you
ass,
said.
bitch.
I don't know if you got the point David is saying.
Yes, I mean, I get it.
Like what I described, creating a user.
Guys.
You.
Have been playing some great basketball. The Timberwolves 8-2 in the playoffs as McDaniels knocks down the first shot of this series. The turnovers and limiting them is the key to victory.
Well, that is the key. Both teams know how to turn over their opponent. As you see, Jaden McDaniels getting going early.
They fell behind by 11 and then wound up with a dominant blowout win. Edwards against a step back three. Got it. What a start. And SGA comes the way. Goes right at McDaniels, gets inside, double team, finds Hartenstein. Oklahoma City, a lot of versatility in their roster. Can play big, can play small. Shot is good. Edwards having problems, now backs in by Williams. Jalen Williams open floor, gets the bump, layup blocked by Edwards.
NBA Twitter likes to call him the free throw merchant, Mike.
Julius Randle given some space and knocks down the three. Randle playing against some of the best teams.
Hey. Hello. Yes, now. What do you mean by permit of this? What's the error message that they are saying? Is it suspected fraud? And then it's not me. Should be permit rest or RT. Permitting rest and RT is on the page view or access. I'm on the chat. No, that found. That is view or access. It's not me. So either him or Godwin Francis. Not sure who, but Pedro can advise. Yeah, no. I've already done my own part. It's not me, I beg. Oh my God. this work life, but more. I try doing something. This guy is just the stubborn life.
Have been playing some great basketball. The Timberwolves 8-2 in the playoffs as McDaniels knocks down the
I don't know what he's doing McDaniels like in Coleman, but the guy just
Well, that is the key. Both teams know how to for their opponent. As you see, Jaden McDaniels getting going early.
They fell behind by 11 and then wound up with a dominant blowout win. Edwards against Holman, step back three, got it. What a start. And SGA comes the other way. Goes right at McDaniels, gets inside, double team, finds Hartenstein.
Where the fuck did you come from?
A lot of versatility in their roster. Can play big, can play small. Edwards' jump shot is good. Edwards having problems, now backs in, stolen by Williams. Jalen Williams open floor, gets the bump, layup blocked by Edwards.
NBA Twitter likes to call him the free throw merchant, Mike.
Julius Randle giving some space and knocks down the three. Randle playing against some of the best team basketball. The previous series averaged 25.7.5 assists. Beautiful spin move and a little English. SGA with a sweet play. He has 7 of their 9 points. The Randle-Jalen Williams matchup will be fun. Hartenstein knocks it away on the double. Alley-oop to Hartenstein. Defense to offense. OKC stops them.
It is very, very difficult.
McDaniels. Randle gets a good look from the corner, and that's another three for Julius Randle.
While it didn't work out there, Mike, you're starting to see the Minnesota side. When Hartenstein is away from the rim, those bigs from Minnesota can eat.
Lethal from mid-range. Wallace runs over it. McDaniels left open, now drives, lost the handle, picked up by Williams. Again in the open floor. They call that a dunk here at OKC.
Down to the last 5 seconds, it is boxes and elbows around Shea.
Reed kicks it out in the corner. DiVincenzo fires away, hits the three.
Edwards is not getting fouled. Julius Randle's not getting fouled. That's the argument.
Focus happened.
Into the corner.
Well, they've been hearing it here there in the corner, that's for sure. Isaiah Joe rattles that one in. Williams on the drop. Hartenstein with the stuff. The OKC offense.
That is too much damn long.
DiVincenzo puts it out. Good swarming defense here. Randle, three-pointer, he's good. Julius Randle, 3 for 4 from long distance. Ball tipped all the way out to Randle, the three. Puts it in. Julius Randle, his 4th three-pointer already.
Went out in the playoffs.
DiVincenzo surpasses. Alexander Walker connects on a three. Has 8 three-pointers now from Minnesota. Mark Dignault wants timeout. Wallace back on Edwards. Randle, huge height advantage and weight advantage on Wiggins. Beautiful turnaround shot. He's got 15 points.
That's what you get when you get the defense player of the year. Yeah, he might miss a wide open layup, but he's also going to block shots. And okay, Julius Randle.
Randle's got him cooking right now. Julius Randle, 18 of the 38 points. Gobert stops, turns, shot, got it. Gilgeous Alexander. Wallace left open, knocks down a three. We've seen a bunch of zone in the playoffs so far. Edwards fires away and knocks down the three-pointer. His second three, got 10. Ball swatted.
Yeah, that was a block.
By McDaniels.
And it's only a 4-point game coming out at half.
Williams, that's a wide open look. Haven't had a lot of those.
DiVincenzo and Walker.
Conley kicks it out. Daniels, pull up jump shot. That's good. Daniels. Making it difficult for Gilgeous Alexander. Gets inside, pulls back. doubled a bit. One.
Wins Spurs team. It was a 1 versus 8. Memphis.
Hartenstein. Shot clock at 8. Finds some room. Nails the three-pointer. Jalen Williams now chasing him. Catch, fire, connects. And a quick timeout. Dignal. Isaiah Joe has to give it up. Shot clock is at 8. Williams one-on-one with Randall. Gets past the floaters up and good. Tough shot from Jalen. Cousins battling right there. SGA wins out. Timeout Minnesota. Edwards XGA. Williams screen. Gilgeous Alexander left-handed. Does not go down. It's his own rebound. Back up and in.
This is that burst ability from OKC.
OKC lead. Again, that's their largest of the game. There's not been a double-figure lead in this one. Nas Reed spike into a turnover. Jalen Williams the drive. Kicks it out in the corner. Williams the drive. Up and up. It's at home. Gorgeous move and 10 straight points by the Thunder. And Alexander Walker outlets to Edwards. Edwards dancing, prancing. Layup's good. His cousin gets the rebound.
Boy, that bench continues to struggle with their shooting.
Ed Williams three. Got it! Big three-pointer, and the Thunder with their largest lead of the game.
It's a little bigger.
Now Norley's a 9% regular season who knocks it down. Second three for Dizo. Now, shot's good and one. Took the hit, banked it home, and a chance for a 3-point. 6 shots from 3-point range. DiVincenzo took a shot. Cason Wallace, Holmgren. He lined in, answers right back. On a shot clock. Randall guarded by Caruso. Pulls up. Jumper is good. First bucket here in the second half for Randall. McDaniels hesitated. DiVincenzo drives. Reverse Holmgren. Saved by Wallace. Ball out of bounds. Wiggins deflected by DiVincenzo. Wallace right there to Holmgren. Holmgren with the flush. Guys who go stretches where they play a lot. Other stretches they don't, but they're all feet inside. Holmgren with force. One that goes out his cousin, well defended. Shot in and out won't go. Holmgren right there. Hanging around the rim and getting bucket after bucket. 9 in the fourth quarter. On Dort. Backs in. Tries to split the defense and lost the ball. Foul. Bucket. Count it and one. Some Shea sizzle here in the fourth. Just past the midway point here in the fourth. SGA the drive and the finish. 28 points. 10-point lead with 5. Plenty of time for Minnesota.
I don't even know.
Gilgeous Alexander jumper.
And that's why you have to pressure him. Yes.
I'm not enjoying it.
Jalen Williams. Blue Dort, corner three. High arcing three goes down. 8 assists, 5 rebounds. Spins against Dort, leads in. Beautiful move from Julius Randle.
And you got to start hitting this three. They're 15-48 from 3, but if there's a time to get hot, it's right now.
Cason Wallace has it. On the drive, goes inside, throws it up, and Jalen Williams with the flush.
Oh, your head, nigga.
Drives inside, pulls up. Back up top to Caruso. Caruso, three-pointer. Bang! 18-point lead with 3 minutes to play. Stolen by Dort. Saves it to Williams. To win if you're the road team. 35-6 during the regular season. 5-1 in the playoffs. The one lost Doris just mentioned. One against Denver. Williams tonight